What's up guys, welcome to Voicey here. This is your host Captain Zach, and today's subreddit is r/IDontWorkHereLady and a couple bonus stories from r/Today I Fudged Up. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell to never miss an episode. This story's called I Just Got Fired... I never thought I would experience this in my lifetime. I'm a hard worker, extremely dependable, and respectful. Not sure how I could lose a job like this, especially when I only just got it. So I work late, and just about every night for the last few weeks, at least, I stop by Walmart to get something for dinner. I usually get off around midnight and stop by on my way home. Every time I'm at Walmart, barely anyone is there except for the night crew, stocking up the store and doing their own thing. Now, from what I have noticed, they don't have much of a uniform. Many of them are in hoodies or jackets of different colors. Just to add some context, I showed up last night and I'm wearing a hoodie. I begin to walk up and down the aisles trying to figure out what I want for dinner. I'm thinking pasta and walk past a few guys who are loading the shelves. All of a sudden, I start hearing this guy yelling. The voice gets much louder. Hey! Hey! Are you listening? I turn to look to see what's going on, and this guy approaches me. You're late again. Don't think I haven't noticed you walking in the door after 12. I begin to laugh, thinking this guy's joking around. Before I can even say anything, he jumps on me. You think this is funny? Your job must not be important to you. I want you to follow me to the office. Now, I'm completely confused and start looking around like I'm on some sort of hidden camera show. He starts to walk off and I turn around and go back to shopping. He comes back a minute later and starts to yell. You want to be fired? Because if you don't come with me now, I will fire you. I start to laugh even harder, then ask him, what's my name? He gives me this puzzled look, so I ask him again, what's my name? Do you even know who I am? He looks at the other guys in the aisle, who have stopped stocking the shelves at this point to watch this event unfold. He then looks back at me, trying to figure out what exactly to say back to me before his head explodes. Good luck filing the paperwork to fire me when you don't even know my name. I continue to laugh at this whole stupid charade. I pick up some ingredients for spaghetti, trying to give this guy a clue. He storms off, and I look at the other guys in the aisle. I'm sure he'll figure it out eventually. I don't work here. They start laughing, and I go on. Can't believe I lost the job I just found out I had in the same night. It's alright, buddy. It obviously wasn't that much of a loss if the dude in charge doesn't even know your freaking name. This story's called Karen and Company Harass Me for a Table at a Restaurant I Clearly Don't Work At. Alright folks, this is my first ever Reddit post, so I don't know what I'm doing, but I was binge watching VoiceyHere and r/ and remembered a good r/IDontWorkHereLady moment from a few years ago. Every summer, my family and I go to my grandpa's cabin. It's a 9-hour drive and located on a beautiful lake near a very small town. And because of its size, there is basically just one big restaurant in town. My family and I went into town for the summer market, and luckily we had booked a reservation for the restaurant before the market. By the time we arrived for our reservation, the lineup for the restaurant was out the door and around the corner of the street. I was also 14 at the time, but I looked 9. Story. My family and I had just sat down in the outside area of the very crowded restaurant after a couple of hours of wandering the summer market. I ordered my usual, a chicken wrap with a side of crispy green beans, 10 out of 10 recommend, and then I realized I needed to pee. The table was set up where one side was on the wall, therefore half the people were sitting on a couch connected to the wall, and the other side had regular chairs. Our table was in the corner, and I was in between my oblivious sister and my fresh out of the hospital grandfather, and I went to scooch to the side to wiggle out. My oblivious sister didn't notice I was trying to get by at first, so she didn't move whatsoever. When she went to move her legs, she kicked my knee accidentally, and I stumbled with the grace of a newborn giraffe. As stated earlier, so it was a small restaurant, so my little fiasco caught attention. Luckily, most people in the restaurant were chill. Or maybe just really high since the town is known for its pot. And they all just laughed and asked if I was okay. Thinking nothing of it, I skipped towards the main entrance to the restaurant where the line was. As I was walking past the line, I heard possibly the most annoying, shrill, what I now realize is a typical entitled Karen voice, call out over the music. Hey!
like a table for 5, please."
Once again, I thought nothing of it because there were several exhausted waitresses scrambling around trying to take orders and seat impatient customers. Like a normal person, I assumed that the Karen was talking to a waitress. That is, until I felt a light smack on my elbow. I turned around, wondering if my sister had followed me. Nope. I was faced with a 40-something-year-old woman with badly dyed, armpit-length blonde hair that looked like she tried to straighten it with a $1 straightener from a Barbie set. She had one of those black, kinda see-through, butt-length and way too widely scooped neck shirts with elbow-length sleeves, and paired with flare jeans and chunky gold jewelry, the kind that you get off eBay thinking it was going to make you look rich, and a pair of oversized sunglasses on her head. Karen, now annoyed,
"Excuse me, can I have my table now? It's so hot in the sun, I need to be seated now!"
Now, keep in mind, I am an incredibly anxious person who would rather dance on Legos than endure confrontation, especially with strangers. Even more so when I was 14. Any type of social confrontation makes me freeze up and practically cry on the spot. So, naturally, I froze and stared at her like a deer in headlights before turning tail and fleeing into the restaurant and practically sprinted to the bathroom stall. About 10 minutes later, I made my way back outside, and the second Karen spotted me, she stopped her foot.
"You! Here! Right now!
Or?
Now!"
My dumb, persuasive booty decided to listen to her, and on the verge of tears, I walk over to her. Yes? Karen, hands on her hips with a face that I'm pretty sure I see in my sleep paralysis.
"Listen here, young lady, and you listen good. You sat down at that table when you should have been working. Can't you see how busy this place is? Some of us have been waiting for 25 minutes. I tried to politely wave you over, but you just sat there chatting with customers. And then you go to the kitchen and I call you again and you ignore me. Twice.
She wags her fingers at me like I'm a dog or something.
Get off your butt and go do your freaking job and get me a table like I've asked 4 times already."
I was literally frozen in shock and fear. My brain finally put the pieces together. This lady thought I worked at the restaurant, despite looking nothing like a waitress. First of all, I looked 9. Accentuated by my ripped, shabby pink leggings and secondhand blue tank top. Secondly, all the waitresses were over age 19 and wearing a black dress shirt with black pants and an apron. How this lady came to the conclusion that I was a waitress was beyond me. Having never encountered someone this stupid, I genuinely didn't know what to do except stand there with my jaw slack. When I didn't respond, one of Karen's fellow Wine Mom squad members piped up. Let's call her Linda. Excuse me, Karen is speaking to you. Go do your flipping job now." Me? Finally managing to find my voice. I don't work here. Sorry. I thought this would be the end of it, but Karen exploded.
"You've got to be crapping me. I can't believe what I'm hearing. Never in my life have I met such a dumb, rude, worthless employee. If you want to keep this job, I suggest you get me a table."
No! But I'm here for dinner with my family. I don't even work.
"Yeah, and you should give us that corner table."
She points at the table my family is sitting at.
"Yes, I want that one."
At this point, I start to cry and just walk away. Karen and company literally start screaming. And I mean screaming. So I just cried harder. By this point, everyone outside was looking at me. A sobbing 14-year-old girl being cursed at by middle-aged women. And some were shouting at the Karens. Sadly, I don't remember what they said because it was over 6 years ago. But apparently, a manager was called, and even after the manager said that I was not an employee, Karen and company continued their shrieking about how unfair this was. Roar? Okay. And then got kicked out. Also, apparently, my dad had to hold back my grandpa, who literally still had 20+ stitches in his chest from emergency open heart surgery, from going over there and beating the crap out of them. My mom let me order a piece of cake and my sister drew a flower on the napkin to try and make me feel better. Sorry if you found this really anticlimactic. Personally, I think it traumatized me for a while, and it definitely didn't help my social anxiety issues. If you listen to this, thank you. Have a wonderful day, afternoon, evening. Alright, first of all, Hopeless Echoes, the Redditor who wrote this, I hope you're listening. Second, poor you, 14-year-old that looks like 9-year-old you. Personally, I haven't really had to deal with social anxiety for a long time, and I mean like since I was probably around 13. That was the last little bit of social anxiety I've experienced, but I do know that it is horrible to deal with. But anyways, I personally found that story actually very good and very well written, and I'm proud to have you as a member of the Anti-Karen Task Force. This story's called, Today I FICO'd Up by getting the bomb squad called to my local park and getting a statewide manhunt put into place. Before you read, I know it was dumb. That's why I'm here. Enjoy the gosh darn story. Karen is in the comments if you want both sides of the story. Never mind, they left. So, this all started yesterday. I had left work early because I felt like crap and didn't want to work with a cold. I didn't know what to do with all this free time I've just been granted, so I figured, hey, let's make a rocket. I've seen the King of Random video on how to make a rocket engine out of PVC pipe and household ingredients. So I thought I'd give it a go. I picked up all the stuff I needed and made my way to the park. Wide, open, and well-ventilated area. First mistake. I was supposed to use 3/4 PVC. I used 1.5 inches. Second mistake. Karen was sitting in the corner of the park, hidden from view. You'll see how she plays into this. So my buddy and I spent about an hour or so constructing this failed abortion of a rocket, adding much more fuel than necessary and packing too tight. The time comes where this bad boy is ready to fly and we start taking precautions. We alerted everyone in the area and even gathered a small crowd to watch the rocket. However, we completely missed Karen as she was freaking hiding in her car on the far end. So we light the gosh darn thing, and instead of launching, it just smokes. Like a lot. Like so freaking much it looked like there was a forest fire. I can't put into words how much smoke this foot-long rocket was producing. We soon realized it's a dud, and we leave it be so it will run out of fuel. Just our luck, a group of track kids come out of the woods to run laps. On the track, the rocket is chilling on, and they just stop and stare, completely concerned. We realized our mistake and attempted to put it out, except it just wouldn't freaking stop. Eventually, a kid from our crowd yeeted it into a nearby field and it eventually died down. We attempted to clean up the mess, but nothing was cooperating. The rock had eaten a hole into the pavement and there was molten plastic everywhere. We picked up what we could and left, hoping that would be the end of it. It was apparently freaking not. So my buddy and I are sitting in McDonald's talking over the situation when a large black police unit drove by. Not too suspicious, but they're not common to our area, and this had plating all around it. We joked about it being a bomb squad and eventually forgot about it. Fast forward to the next morning, I get a call from my brother claiming someone planted a pipe bomb at our park. They had pictures of our cars and had a statewide search in place. Apparently, Karen had to get her toddies in a bunch and made a post on Facebook about the ordeal, claiming 2 men were seen planting an incendiary device at the local park. As soon as possible, I hauled booty down to the local police station to clear things up. They called up the bomb squad to check to see if it looked more like a bomb or a rocket, and we took the time to go over my abominations. They were very understanding, and eventually got everything cooled down. All that came from it was a ticket for disturbance of the peace and a warning to not make gosh darn rockets in public parks. I'm terrible at retelling things, so let me know if my storytelling needs work. Okay, first of all, Karen, why? Why would you waste police officers' valuable time? Not just time, but resources, okay? What you caused cannot have been cheap. And I would love if anyone in the comments below could confirm that, because I feel like, bomb squad units and armored police vehicles can't be cheap to deploy. And not to mention all the people you freaked out by posting about it on Facebook. All in all, I think we can all agree that Karen was an idiot and she should be fined for, falsing a bomb threat. which is a big deal. This story is called, Today I Flibbertigibbet It Up by Eating a Customer's Food. This happened last night. I'm a delivery driver for a small local company. Kinda like Uber Eats, but we're only in this town. I was working a long shift last night, 3 to 10, and skipped out on dinner. No big deal. I was planning on pulling over at some point and grabbing some Wendy's or something, until I got one dreaded order. It was an order for 200 wings from a local wing shop. $150-ish in total for their food. Now, on my app, I can see how much they paid, how far they live, and how much they tip. They were a 20-minute drive from the place, and they tipped me a wonderful $1. Now, I get paid strictly on tips, and I get $3 an hour for gas. This delivery was gonna cost me money to do with how little of a tip they gave me. Now, I understand that happens sometimes with delivery jobs. I was upset, but I was gonna let it pass. Until the customer called me angry about how long it was taking for them to get their food. I was sitting in the restaurant waiting for the food to be cooked, 200 wings mind you. He yelled at me and said he has guests over and they are all hungry, and that he wants me to hurry up or, and I quote, "I'll call your boss and have him take that tip off my order." That's where the bomb went off in my head. I got off the phone with him and got his food. On my way to his house, I decided that this schlonghead just paid for my dinner, so I ate a few wings, 7 to 8-ish. I've never done this before, but God, did they taste even better than I would if I had bought them myself. Now, here's the mess up. I get to his house, hand him the food, and he asks, "Did you eat some of my wings?" I told him no, but little did I know, I had a fat sauce glob on my chin, and he claimed he smelled it on my breath. I sat there while getting yelled at, and while he called my boss, and eventually my boss took $20 off of his total to make up for it. I still haven't heard from my boss yet, preparing myself for the worst. But I think I'm gonna order from that wing place tonight because, dang, those boogers were delicious. Okay, both people were in the wrong here in my opinion. You should always tip your drivers or whoever. You should just always tip your servers well. Because, as we all know from all these stories, there are some very jerky customers, as we actually just saw right now. But do not mess with your customers' food. As someone who uses delivery services a lot, that is one of my biggest fears. Okay, not really, but still, don't eat your customers' food. That's messed up. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell to never miss an episode.